Let's get ready for some therapeutic yin yoga. When yin yoga is done consistently, it can offer some pain relief to our body, especially our hips and low back. Just give it a whirl, and I bet you'll have a great night's rest. See you on the mat.
If you're new here, hi, my name is Jamie, and welcome to a slice of my deck in Michigan. I live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and this is going to be a 60-minute super cozy yin yoga class for the hips and low back. First and foremost, grab all your cozy, comfortable clothes. You want to be really, really comfortable for tonight's practice. Grab some fuzzy socks if you'd like. A hot tea. You can turn your lights down or light a candle. If you have any sort of headache, you can grab some peppermint. Maybe put a couple drops on a tissue. All right, so if you have at least a bolster for tonight's practice, if you don't have a bolster, go ahead and stack a few bed pillows together or a couple couch pillows together, a few blocks at least, and a cozy blanket. Just as a gentle reminder, we hold our poses for about 2 to 3 minutes and never go into the full extension of the pose right away. We want to allow gravity to sink us down further the more we breathe and relax. And just never, we want to really listen to our body, and we don't want to be feeling any pain. If any of these poses feel painful to you at any time, back out of it immediately, but also keep an open mind for the pain and mild discomfort from stretching a new muscle. Folded blanket. I think I'm going to go this way instead this time. So go ahead and grab our folded blanket, and I always usually start the class with a nice resting pose, and if that's your vibe tonight, go ahead and take that. You can take any sort of laying down resting pose. You can put a bolster underneath your body if you'd like, just to help support. I'm gonna go in for a little fetal position. If you'd want to chill on your side, feel free to do so. Grab a blanket just to kind of cozy up as a little pillow if you'd like. Or if you really want to get to it, go ahead and take a child's pose. But wherever you are, we just want to get nice and cozy here. Nice and comfortable. I'll cue the fetal position. Go ahead and lay on either side, whichever side's your favorite. Inhaling those knees up towards your chest. Just bringing them up as high as comfortable. If you happen to select resting pose, you can go ahead and keep your knees together. Feet out wide if you'd like. Those knees are bent and leaning against each other. Or you can take a nice big butterfly pose, reclined butterfly pose. Or just extend one leg long, leaving the other bent, or extending them both. You just want to get nice and comfortable. Just take a few minutes just to arrive. Tell our body this is our time now. Let that to-do list go. Option to breathe in through the nose, out through the nose, or in through the nose, out through the mouth. Yogi's choice. And just take a moment to notice how you're feeling. We made it to yoga, folks. It's the hardest part. We've already done the hardest part. We are here connecting together, all in the name of self-care. If my internet happens to go out at any time, just somebody go ahead and text. I try to watch it. Unclench your jaw. Relax your tongue at the bottom of your mouth. Soften your cheeks and the space between your eyebrows. Drop them shoulders down. And just release as much as you can. Know that within this hour of connecting together, we are going to breathe away some tension. We're going to stretch some tension out of our body. Just take a load off. During our time together, we're just going to check in with our self-talk, say some positive affirmations. That's just us checking in with the way we talk to ourselves for this next hour. And tonight will be a series of affirmations. And I invite you to repeat to yourself, I have the power to slow my breath down. I have the power to slow my breath down. And just go ahead and repeat that to yourself as many times as necessary. If it doesn't feel right for you, you can go ahead and repeat to yourself, I am safe, or simply today is going to be a good day. Or tonight's going to be a good night wherever you are in the world. And yin is a very deep meditative practice. We really focus on how we're breathing here. And we really want to pay attention to how it feels as we're breathing. I have the power to slow my breath down. And this doesn't happen in the first 2 minutes of practice. This is an ongoing practice throughout this time together. It can take anywhere from like 3 to 5 minutes for us to really catch our breath, to really slow the breath down. So don't get discouraged if it doesn't feel right yet. Just stick with it. One more breath here. Make it a nice big breath, the biggest breath you've taken all day. Loud, audible exhale, let it out. Let's go ahead, take one more big cleansing breath together. Deep inhale through the nose. Loud, audible exhale, release. And when you're feeling ready, gently coming up if you're in the fetal pose up to seated. If you're in the resting pose, go ahead and roll off to one side and gently come up. And if you happen to take child's pose, let's all meet together in a cat-cow on all fours. Moving any prop off to the side for just a moment. On all fours here, our hips are in line with our knees and our shoulders are in line with our wrists. Check in with those fingers, spread them nice and wide. You want to put the bulk of the weight on the knuckle pads and the thumb pad. If this doesn't feel right for your wrist, go ahead and just gently come down to your forearms. I'm going to switch. You want to gently come down to your forearms as an option. But from here, option to curl the toes if you'd like. We're going to inhale, drop that belly. Exhale, round the back here. Separate them shoulder blades, chin to chest. And also just move intuitively in this pose. Move in any way that feels really nourishing for your body right now. As we sneak in a few cat-cows, shift around, just play around in this pose. Once more. And release. And from here, just go ahead and pick a leg and we're just going to extend it back, rocking on them toes, stretching out that calf. And release. Go ahead and extend that opposite leg long, rocking on them toes. and release. I'm going to add a couple more things here just for this transition to target our hips. We're going to go ahead, we're just going to shift from side to side. We're shifting our glutes from side to side. So from here, shift those glutes to the left and look over towards the right. Exhale back to middle. Opposite side, as you take an inhale, go ahead and shift those glutes over towards the right, looking over towards the left. Release back to center. And from here, last little move, let's add some hip circles here. Go ahead and just shift those glutes over towards the right, back down by your heel. Nice and gently swing them over towards the left. And we're coming up in a circular motion here. There's going to be a lot more weight on your hands than in your knees. But the name of the game is to move at your own pace here. We're targeting lots in the hips here. And go ahead and reverse that circle, go in the opposite direction. Big breath, connect that breath. Get the day's tension out. Once more. And release. And from here, let's get right to the hip work. I'm going to cue a deer pose. If you would prefer to take a pigeon pose, feel free to do so. So one of the differences between a pigeon and a deer pose is in deer, your back leg is bent. In pigeon, the back leg is straight. So if you'd like to opt for the pigeon, option to go ahead and take a down dog and step up. Just use whichever leg you'd like to start with. I will cue deer. Have a block or two by you just in case. But from deer pose, whichever leg you'd like to start with, go ahead and place that leg bending at the knees, gentle flex in those toes, parallel to the top of the mat. Now, if it doesn't feel right to be parallel with the top of the mat, go ahead, take that heel, scooch it closer in towards your groin. Back leg, option for the hip to be in line with the knee here. And the knee to be in line with the ankle if that's okay. But if this does not feel right, and your hips will tell you right away, go ahead, take this knee, scooch it closer towards this heel. Little trick, take your hands and push your glutes up, lift your glutes up. This will help shift your pelvis into a good place for you. Somewhere in here, you'll find your sweet spot. Option one, we can roll those shoulders back, leaning back on our hands, gently inhaling that pelvis up slightly. And we can hold our breaths here if we'd like. Or option two, we're just going to forward fold over this front leg. You're either going to fold in front or off to the side, just wherever it feels really right for your anatomy. Or maybe sitting up straight is enough. If it feels enough like this, go ahead and remain where it feels right. Because that's what really matters. Not how we look, it's how we feel that matters. It really makes a difference. If you're opting to fold, you can always fold on a prop placed in front of you, or you can rest on your hands or on your forearms, or you can stack both of your fists together and rest your forehead on the earth if you'd like. Really just allowing this internal and external rotation to open some things up, loosen some things. We hold a lot of tension in our hips. It's the biggest joint in our whole body. And I invite you to repeat to yourself, I am feeling calm now that my day is done. I am feeling calm now that my day is done. You can always take a block, rest your forehead on it. Always remember your block has multiple different settings, and you can always shift that around to find your spot. Or multiple heights settings. It's great. And just scan your body and just notice anywhere where you're holding really tight. Unclench your jaw. I am feeling calm now that my day is done. Really, just be proud of yourself today, even if all you accomplished was getting in the shower. Being a human is hard. The fact that you're checking in with your self-care right now says a whole lot, and it means a lot to your body too, and your mind. One more breath. And when you're feeling ready, if you happen to be folded over, pushing yourself back up really nice and slow, the slower the better. Taking your hands and grab that back leg and guide it forward. That can make a lot of difference. If you're in pigeon, just organically come out, shift your weight off that glute, and just go ahead and extend both those legs long for a good shake here. Notice if both of your legs feel a little different. And release. Before we get to the second side, let's add a wiper here. Go ahead, lean back on those hands, bend those knees up towards the sky. Great big inhale through the nose. Oh, first place your feet at least hip distance apart. They can either be flat on the earth or up on your heels. Great big inhale through the nose. Exhale, drop the knees to the right. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, drop them to the left. And just go ahead and flow this out on your own, moving fast or slow. Inhaling as we go up. Exhaling as we go down. One more. And release. And from here, let's take our deer pose on the opposite side or pigeon. Just a reminder, you can always take a down dog to step up into pigeon. I'm just going to shift so you can see my body better. Taking that opposite leg, bending at the knee, gentle flex in the toes. Option for it to be parallel with the top of the mat. But if that's not your vibe tonight, go ahead and just take that heel, scooch it closer in towards your groin. For the back leg, the hips and the knee could be in a line, and the knee and the ankle. If that doesn't feel right for you, just take that back knee and shift it closer to that front foot. And always use your hands to shift your glutes up. This will make all the difference for your pelvis. Option one, we can roll our shoulders back, lean back on our hands, gently tilt that pelvis up. And if this feels right, you can go ahead and take your breaths here. If you'd like a little bit more, we're going to fold over that front leg. Can either fold forward or off to the side. Having any prop in front of you that feels right for you to rest on. Always options to rest on your hands or on your forearms. Just check in with your shoulders. Make sure there's no clenching going on here. Make sure there's always a gentle bend in those elbows. And I invite you to list one thing that you're truly grateful for today, whatever it may be. And seal that with a nice, great big smile. And always know that both of your hips are going to feel really different. And just honor that. And we inhale slow and exhale even slower. And we can really feel that breath a lot better when we are folded over. Maybe you can even feel your belly rising and falling on your leg somewhere. Unclench your jaw. Check in with your shoulders. Make sure there's no straining. Few more breaths here. One more breath. And when you're feeling ready, nice and slow, pushing yourself back up to a seated. Take your hand, grab that back leg, and bring it forward. Moving any props, and let's just give it a good shake here. Shake them legs. Can roll them ankles, point and flex your feet if you'd like. You can even go ahead and roll your wrists. And release. And from here, as a transition, let's do a little seated figure four. So whichever leg you'd like to start with, we're just going to go ahead, leaning back on our hands, and just take whichever leg you'd like to start. Go ahead, bending them both at the knee, knees up towards the sky. And then take whichever foot you'd like and cross it on top of that opposite leg. That opposite foot can be hanging out on the knee or the thigh area. The foot can be on your muscle or hanging off. Great big inhale through the nose. Option to remain still or go ahead and rock a little bit from side to side. Connecting with the breath. And release. Go ahead. Straighten those legs. Come off those hands. Give those hands and those arms a good shake here. And release. Second side. Leaning back on our hands. Bending those knees up towards the sky. Go ahead and cross that opposite foot on that other knee or calf area. Foot can be on the muscle or hanging off. Option to remain still or gently rock a little bit from side to side. Just getting a little extra out of those hips. And release. Go ahead, uncross, come back up. And one more transition, just going to check in with that neck really quick. Take whichever comfortable seated position you'd like. You can either remain in the staff pose or you can cross your legs, but we're just going to take a minute to stretch our neck. Go ahead, hover that left hand over your mat. And when you're feeling ready, great big inhale through the nose. And on the exhale, bring that right ear down towards that right shoulder. And really paying attention to how you're moving right now. The neck is such a sensitive area. Option to remain here, or if you'd like a little bit more, chin to chest. The chin is just going in the direction of the chest. And release, neck back to neutral, drop the hand. Second side, go ahead, hover that right hand over your mat. Taking an inhale through the nose. Exhale, when you're feeling ready, drop that left ear towards that left shoulder. Option to remain here, or if you'd like a tidbit more, you can go in the chin to chest direction. And release, neck back to neutral, bringing our hand back. And from here, let's give our hip flexors a little attention here. Let's go in for a low lunge. If the low lunge is not your vibe tonight, option to go ahead and take a saddle position. Saddle position, just really quick, you can lay on your bolster, place it behind your hips here and lay on it. And you can either bend both knees or you can bend one knee back and keeping the other straight. That would be a half saddle. That, if you'd like. I'm going to cue the low lunge. And nice and gentle, we'll just start from a kneeling position and go ahead and pick whichever side you like to start with first. Option to grab your blocks if you'd like. They can be on the high setting, the middle setting, or the low. And go ahead, just take whichever leg you'd like to start with and step it forward. If you need a little bit extra love on those knees, you could take your blanket if you'd like. Mine's just folded, no typical or no regular height here, but you can go ahead and rest that back knee on the blanket. It'll give a little extra comfort there. I'm going to go for that since I'm on a deck. And from here, we're just going to step our foot up front, making sure that the knee and the ankle is in somewhat of a line, trying to keep the knee back behind the toes if possible. Go ahead, feel those ribs. If they're flared out, go ahead and just shift them down gently, and this will engage our core here. For the back foot, always an option to curl the toes if you'd like. And we can remain sitting up nice and tall if this is okay, if this feels right for you. Or if you'd like a little bit more, we're gonna bring these hips, sink these hips down a little bit lower, finding our spot for our blocks. And just trying to sink in as much as we can here. We don't want to go too far too fast. Your body will tell you if you go too far or too fast. But stretching this muscle, that front part of that hip, can really relieve a lot of low tension. So good to strengthen and lengthen that muscle. For our hands that are rested on the blocks, if you don't want the blocks, just move them to the side. Gentle bend in those elbows. Shoulders are strong but not straining. Only give about half effort here. And I invite you to repeat to yourself, I will release the tension from my body. I will release the tension from my body. Chin is slightly lifted. Really breathe into this space. This can be a difficult one. But just give it what you got tonight. Unclench your jaw. Deep breaths. Sinking a little bit deeper if your body allows. Just a few more breaths here. Check in with your shoulders, your elbows, make sure everything feels okay. One more breath. And from here, we're going to gently release by shifting our glutes back, really nice and slow, straightening that front leg. Option to lift those toes to the sky. And if you'd like to stay for the half split, go ahead and take your breaths here. If you'd like a little bit more or a little bit different, go ahead and just sit on that back foot. Extend that leg long, gently forward fold. Sitting on that foot just helps us lift our pelvis up. Sometimes that can make all the difference. A few more breaths here. And release, gently inhaling back up. Go ahead, move those props to the side for just a second. And if you'd like, go ahead and take a hero's pose really quick. Our hero's pose can be, our glutes can be on our heels if we'd like, or our glutes can be in between our heels. You can always add a block underneath your glutes if you'd like. We're really just going to take a moment to stretch our chest, but bend our legs at the same time. Go ahead, inhale those shoulders up and back. Interlacing our hands behind our back. Option 1, keep the elbows bent. Chest lifted up towards the sky. Option 2, straighten them elbows. Chin and chest is slightly lifted towards the sky. Big deep breaths. And release. Go ahead and sway those arms out for a second. Roll them shoulders if you'd like for just a minute or two, or a breath or two. And when that feels complete, let's go into our low lunge on the opposite side, or the half saddle on the opposite side. Grabbing those blocks if you'd like from a kneeling position. Go ahead and just step that opposite foot up, anchor it to the earth with that knee and that ankle in a line here. Check in with that back knee. Scoot your blanket over if you'd like a little bit of extra comfort for that back knee. And from here, we can be up nice and tall. Option to curl those back toes if that feels all right. Option to remain here for your breaths. Or if you'd like a little bit more, sink these hips a little bit deeper. Hanging on to our blocks here. Just give about half effort here. Both of our hips are very different. And we just want to make sure to honor that with our body and not go too far. Chin is slightly lifted if that feels all right. Check in with your elbow, small bend there. Check in with your shoulders, make sure there's no straining. And I invite you to repeat to yourself, I choose calm energy now. I choose calm energy now. And seal it with a nice, great big smile. This gentle compression that you're putting on your hip flexor will really help relubricate that joint, releasing all the tension that's stuck in those muscles and fascia. If you feel any sort of emotion coming up at any time, go with it, follow it, release it, whatever it may be. If it's a laugh, if it's a cry, or even if it's a scream. We're choosing calm energy now and bringing it into our body by just breathing and being in this pose. Breathing nice and deep. Scan your body and just unclench anywhere where you feel like you're holding tight. A few more breaths. If this pose makes you want to breathe really loud, just let that tension out. One more breath. And when you're feeling ready, we're going to shift those glutes back, straightening that front leg, moving really nice and slow. Lifting toes to the sky. Option 1, you can stay for the half split and take your breaths here. Option 2, go ahead and sit on that foot And forward fold. Few more breaths. And release. Coming back up to seated, just organically come off that foot, bringing both feet in front. Moving any props off to the side. And just go ahead, and we're just going to give our legs a little self-massage here. Just did a whole lot of work for us. You can do a good little shake here, or if you'd like, just take your hands and rub them legs. Give them legs some love. They take us everywhere we got to go, all day long. Once you get to the top of the hip crease, option to go ahead and dig your thumb in there if that feels right. Just bringing a little attention to our trunks here. We also get a little mini forward fold. Once more. And release. And from here, let's nice and gently go to our backs. You can grab a pillow or a blanket if you'd like a little extra pillow for your head and neck. We're going to go in for a few pelvic tilts here. So just to begin, go ahead and bend those knees up towards the sky, placing your feet as comfortable, at least hip distance apart, anywhere where that feels comfortable for you. And from here, just bring attention to the small of your back, the space on your back that you can feel, and you want to feel the gap right now. The gap is a neutral. We have a natural curve to our spine. 2 of them. And once you find that gap, we're just going to try to close that gap in a very gentle way. This is a tiny, tiny little micro movement, if you will. So if you'd like a little bit extra to engage those lower abs, you can go ahead and take your fingers and really just push in deep to that low ab. Great big inhale through the nose as that gap is nice and open. Exhale nice and gently, shift, very small shift that pelvis up towards the sky as you close the gap. And go ahead, inhale, open the gap again. It's the smallest of movements. Exhale, close the gap. Just gently shift that pelvis nice and lightly up towards the sky. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. And just go ahead and flow this out on your own for a few, moving at your own pace. Inhale when you feel the gap. Exhale when you want to close it. Few more times. And really just sync this with your breath. Last time. And release wherever you are. And from here, before our final Shavasana, let's go ahead as a transition, take a happy baby. From this position, go ahead and inhale those knees up towards your chest into a wind pose. Option to rock a little bit here from side to side if that feels all right. The knees do not have to be together. They can be together or apart. And let's let's take our knees back to still if you happen to do a little rock. And from here, gentle flex in the toes, soles of the feet up towards the sky. Those bent knees are going in the direction of your armpits. Option 1, take your hands and grab behind those thighs if you'd like, or behind the calves, or taking your hands and wrapping them around your ankles. And then 3 different spots for your feet. You can take your 2 peace fingers and wrap them around your big toes if you'd like. Or take your hands, grab the inner arches or the outer arches. And your anatomy will tell you which one that will feel the best for you. If you just feel that out a little bit. Great big inhales and exhales here. It's a great big hip opener. You did a great job today. And when you're feeling ready, we're going to gently close by bringing the soles of our feet together and releasing them nicely to the earth. And from here, we will move into our final Shavasana. When we can take that in any way. If you'd like to take a legs up the wall, placing the block underneath your pelvis, you can go ahead and do so. If you've been to this class before, you know what I'm talking about. Or you can just take your most favorite laying down position. You can be on your back. You can grab your bolster and your blanket and cozy up in it. In any way that feels right for your body. You can even lay on your side like we began in a fetal position. Maybe go ahead and lay on the opposite side on that fetal position this time. We just want to allow this next few minutes for our bodies to absorb everything it just did. Option to stick with your meditative breath or let it go, yogi's choice. Unclenching your jaw. If you'd like to add on to your Shavasana a little bit, you can go ahead and cozy up in a fetal position on your favorite side for a few more moments to pause. Know that this time that you take for your self-care will have a positive impact on you mentally, physically, and spiritually. You can go ahead and start to gently bring some movement back into your body. You can wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. You can take a great big giant overhead stretch if you'd like. Just move in a way that feels right for you. And if you're laying down, go ahead and come up into a seated position to seal out our practice together. And from our seated position, let's go ahead, inhale those arms up. Take in all that good energy we just created. Exhale down, leave behind what you no longer need today. And again, inhaling arms up, fingertips to touch. And go ahead and roll your wrist in one direction on the way down. Last time, inhaling arms up. And go ahead and roll your wrist in the opposite direction on the way down. Bringing our hands together in prayer position in front of the heart space. Give gratitude to yourself first and to your practice. I'd like to thank you for sharing your time, your energy, and your practice with me. Let's take one last cleansing breath together. Big inhale through the nose. Loud, audible exhale, let it out. May you be well. May you be safe. May you be at peace. Namaste.